Hello everyone, myself Shweta Shah. I am an instructor for the subject Computer Organization and Architecture. In this subject, we have started Unit 2, that is Basic Computer Organization and Design. In this unit, we are going to see today the topic that is Input-Output Cycle. So let me start with the topic. Before that, let me see what is the input-output configuration of the basic computer. A computer can serve no useful purpose unless it is communicate with the external environment. To exhibit the most basic requirement for the input and output communication, we will use the terminal unit with the keyboard and the printer. We are seeing this basic concept, and for that input we are using the keyboard, and for output we are using the printer. And this is the simple block diagram for this printer and keyboard. This printer is connected with the receiver interface and with the OUTR resistor, accumulator and INPR resistor with the keyboard through the transmitter interface. Okay, here we have used the FOG and FGI, that are two flags for this input and output resistor. OUTR is the output resistor and INPR is the input resistor, and this resistor can communicate with CPU through accumulator resistor only. Okay, so the output or input device can communicate with this OUTR or INPR resistor, and this OUTR or INPR resistor can communicate with accumulator only. Okay, so by this way we can create the structure for input output configuration. Here the terminal sends and receives the serial information, and each of the quantity of information has the 8 bits of the alphanumeric code. The serial information from the keyboard is shifted into the input resistor INPR, and the serial information for the printer is stored into the OUTR output resistor. Here, second thing we have used is the two resistors communicate with the communication interface serially and with the accumulator parallel. Here we have considered that this OUTR and INPR resistor communicates with the external device serially but with the accumulator parallel, so that your task completed faster. Second thing, the transmitter interface receives the serial information from the keyboard and transmit it to the INPR resistor, and the receiver interface receives the information from the OUTR and send it to the printer serially. The 1-bit flag FGI controls the flip-flop. It sets to 1 when the new information is available and in the input device, and it is clear to 0 when the information is accepted by the computer. So we are using this FGI flag, and this flag is needed to synchronize the timing rate and the difference between the input device and the computer. Next, we will see the process of the input information transfer. Initially, the input flag FGI is clear to 0, and when the key is struck in the keyboard, the 8-bit alphanumeric code is shifted into the INPR, and the input flag FGI is set to 1 to indicate that this input data is available. Okay, as long as this flag is set, the information in the INPR cannot be changed by striking another key, and the computer checks the flag bit. If it is 1, the information from the INPR is transferred parallelly into the accumulator, and this FGI is clear to 0. When this accumulator accepts the data, this FGI flag is clear to 0, so that now you can strike the next key and store the data. Once the flag is cleared, new information can be shifted. Next, if we consider the process of outputting the information, the output resistor OUTR works similarly, but the direction of the information flow is reversed. Here, the initially output flag FGO is set to 1. The computer checks the flag bit. If it is 1, the information from the accumulator is transferred into parallel to the OUTR, and the FGO is clear to 0. The output device accepts the coded information, prints the corresponding. When the operation is completed, it sets FGO to 1, so that next character can be transmitted for the print. The computer does not load new character into OUTR when the FGO is 0, because this condition indicates that the output device is in the process of the printing of the character. So by this way you can use this outputting information Here we have many input-output instruction. The input-output instructions are needed for transferring the information to and from the accumulator, for checking the flag, and for the controlling the interrupt facility. These three main tasks are completed by using this input-output instruction. The input-output instruction have the operation code part as a 1 1 1 1. 4 bits are 1, and that means your D7 is 1 and I bit is 1. So for our condition, D7 will be 1 and I bit will be 1. If we do remaining bits of this instruction, that specifies the particular operation, which input-output instruction you are going to use. We have total 6 instructions. For example, if we consider this instruction OUT, for this OUT instruction your 10th bit is 1. Let me consider this OUT instruction. For this OUT instruction, your 4-bit opcode will be 1 1 1 1. And for OUT instruction, you have 10th bit 1 and rest of the bits 0. So that your operation code will be like F400, and your condition will be like D7 is 1 and I is 1. And if we consider this bit as a P bit, so your P10 bit should be 1 for your out instruction. For your input instruction, INP instruction, 11 bit is 1, so that your condition will be like D3, D7 is 1, I is 1 and P11 bit is 1. Okay, that we have already seen for the register reference instruction. That same task will be performed over here in this IOP instruction, or you can say input output instruction. If we consider the instruction cycle, then for any of your instruction you have to do fetching and decoding task, and this fetching and decoding tasks are completed in this 2 or you can say 3 timing cycle, that T0, T1 and T2. After this you have decoded instruction and find out which instruction is that. Okay, so this task are already completed, and if there is D7 bit is 1, that means your instruction can be or IOP or can be of register reference. And after that, if you have checked ith bit, and if this ith bit is 1, then you have to execute this input output instruction, and that at the timing signal T3. So your condition will be like D7 is 1, I is 1 and T3 timing signal is generated. Okay, and then rest of the condition will depend upon your bit, or you can say your particular instruction. So let me see how we can do this. The control function for this micro operation of this input output instruction are listed below. Here total we have 6 instruction, and for the 6 instruction common condition is D7 I T3. That 3 bits should be 1. That if we represent this by P, then we have to check for the B bit. If B11 bit is there, then your INP instruction. If B10 bit is there, then your OUT instruction. If B9 bit is there, then SKI. B8 bit is there, then SKO, and so on. Okay. Here for the INP instruction, you are storing this input registers contained into accumulator and clearing the flag input flag FGI to 0. In OUT instruction, your condition is like PB10. Here P represents D7, I, T3. And if your B10 bit is 1, that means your instruction is OUT instruction. In this instruction, you will store the content of accumulator to the output register and clearing the FGO flag to 0. For PB11 condition, your instruction is of SKI. In this instruction, you will check for the input flag. If it is 1, then you will skip the next instruction. That means you will increment the program counter by 1. If PB9 instruction is there, then your instruction is of SKO. If your PB8 condition is there, then your instruction is of SKO, and this you will check the output flag, and if it is 1, then you will skip the instruction by incrementing PC by 1. And if your condition is like PB7, then your I on instruction is there, then you will enable the interrupt, and if it is PB6, then you will disable the interrupt. Okay, so by this way you can use your input output instruction, and this task is going to be performed in this instructions. So we are ending our today's session over here. If you have any query, then you can contact me.